Nous allons passer à la suite
We're going to go on
du
to
programme
the
avec
rest of the program
la thématique énergie,
with
solaire et société. Et on va commencer
solar
par
energy and
les
society.
projets citoyens.
And we're going to begin with the citizen projects. I would like to call the moderator, who is Christine Blondel
Soleil.
from Sud Paris Soleil.
Et
There she
est-ce qu'on
is.
peut avoir la liste
Can we
des
have the list
participants
of all the participants,
Sinon,
please, on the screen?
Je la demande. Donc les participants à la table ronde.
So the participants to this roundtable, Galus Cadono, can you come and join us?
Donc je vous laisse la.
So I'll let you facilitate this
Oui, donc,
roundtable. Yes, my name is Christine Blondel. I'm the co-founder of the Sud Paris Soleil
le département du Val-de-Marne
and the departments of Val-de-Marne, Cachan, Arcueil, Fresnes, Villejuif, and I'm forgetting another city. And there are local associations in those cities, plus Antony, and some roughly 200 individual citizens that are part of this. So the objective of this roundtable is to present different modes of commitments of the citizens in solar energy. So you will have some concrete examples, and these engagements can be individual or collective. And we'll see the two types of engagement, collective and individual. So we're going to look at the perspectives. And there's this final call of this symposium that is
Et c'est tout. Oui, moi, bon. Citoyens et citoyennes.
to act as citizens of all gender.
Alors moi, j'avais une diapo sur
I had a slide on the various ways of doing so. Apparently,
Alors,
It's not
je vais
there.
le dire oralement.
so I'll say
Moi,
it
j'avais listé
orally.
sur une
I had
diapositive
listed on a slide
moyens qui ne
all the
prennent pas du tout
different
une liste
means and
exhaustive.
resources. It's not an exhaustive list, of
Un des
course.
premiers, c'est de se
One of the
fournir en
first
électricité
ones
chez Enercop.
is to get electricity from Enercop. The second thing is to invest part of your saving in investments, and that's very personal. The third individual method is to set up a solar PV system at home. And here we have Solar Cop as an example. And then
Son action
share your actions with other citizens in a collective citizen project, and then we will see the shared energy network that federates all these cooperatives. These are cooperatives, although these are companies, they are managed by a type of status which is that of cooperatives. And the village centers, which are the two major networks of such projects in France, and support and take part in collective movements to defend a real environmental and energy policy. And we'll have an example with the Swiss Solar Agency. And the last point, which is very important in such a project, this was mentioned this morning at the end by the president of the Carbon Society, it is awareness. And I like the term a culture rather than the term we use usually, which is acceptance, which is a bit pejorative. A culture is
et donc
much more positive. So awareness,
aussi bien les enfants,
teaching actions, teaching young people, adults of all ages,
non seulement
so that
le développement du solaire,
we can understand the development of solar and sobriety. That's a word we haven't said much today. Sobriety is the first pillar of our action. I'll stop here and I'll give the floor to our first speaker.
comment Ah, on commence à la vidéo, oui, j'oublie.
Oh yes, we have to begin with the video, sorry.
On commence par deux vidéos.
Let's begin with two
Alors, je vous
videos.
donne le titre de ces
Let me
vidéos.
give you the titles of these
Ce sont justement
videos.
des exemples de
These are
réalisation
examples of citizen actions. The first is
c'est une
full
coopérative citoyenne dans le nord.
Citizen Energy, which is a cooperative in the north of Paris.
On va peut-être commencer par celle-là.
Let's begin with that one.
Votre attention s'il vous plaît, la chasse au trésor va commencer. Rendez-vous devant la table. Aujourd'hui, c'est un grand jour pour la coopérative.
Today is a big day for this cooperative because we are inaugurating our first project, our first solar center on the roofs of our school. We're very happy because it's been 3 years we've been working on this. So this is the result of all this work. The Épinay-sur-Seine plant is 238 solar panels, 400 square meters, and this will allow us to produce energy, the equivalent for 30 households, and they will remain for 30 years, so it's going to be very interesting over the long term. Today, the communities have a strong engagement to fight against global warming. We have engagements to produce renewable energies. We have to produce energy on the spot. We have to make our territories more resilient. And this is why we have to call on the energy of the citizens to develop these renewable energies. There are several stands in real time to see the transformation of this energy to transport a stone. We learned how to build a solar panel. It's great to convey all these messages to the children on energy, the production of energy, to show them how much effort is required to produce energy in homes. So we're trying to engage ourselves, engage people on energy transition. We're creating awareness on energy. It's a good initiative. Considering the state of the planet right now and for the future generations, it's a great investment. I think we have to support Pleine Énergie Citoyenne, first because this is the will of this association, and they have decided to do something and they'll go right to the end of this. And we, community, we have to do that. We have to work with an association such as yours. You bring the roof, you bring us the know-how, and with all the communities we can build beautiful projects as the one in Épinay-sur-Seine. This is what was produced since the panels have been installed, and it will continue with the panels at the entrance. Is that all right? It's for the earth, so that we can do something to improve things. In the greater Paris region, there are some 10 to 15 projects supported by Énergie Partagée, and they're all supported by local communities. So thanks to this, we can improve the energy transition, and we're giving a hand. We are joining people who are mobilized to fight against global warming, people who want to have renewable energies on their territories. You too support a cooperative or launch your own citizen movement.
Voilà donc pour le
So that's
Pleine Énergie Citoyenne.
for Pleine Énergie Citoyenne, and we have a second video on Solaris Civis in the region of Les Bouches-du-Rhône. Our idea was to assume this energy transition and be independent from the energy point of view. I went to meet the mayor of Ventaburn, and he said it should be a project that is a municipal and citizen project. He doesn't want to have a photovoltaic operator. Right at the beginning, it's a group of citizens that took part in an extra-municipal commission on environment that convinced the City Hall to finance this project. The mayor, Claude Philippi, at the time, invested 160,000 euros and to launch these prior studies that were indispensable. Without this engagement from the mayor and without this initial investment, this project could not have been launched. It was a bet, and we tried it. Énergie Partagée is present in this project right from the outset. So they were our coach in this participative and citizen project. Énergie Partagée plays an active role since the beginning of the project. They are advisors, they're counseling us on the setting up of this partnership, on writing the status, on the technical choices, the choice of the operators, or the financial operators. Today, Énergie Partagée has invested 450,000 euros. They can be active in the governance together with the community that is bearing this project. So ENERCOP, together with the Compagnie Nationale du Rhône, is buying the electricity from this photovoltaic plant. And the first one, which is 100% citizen. The purchasing contract of ENERCOP says that there will be the payment of €1 bonus to finance actions for this energy transition on this territory. FNE recommends facilities with roofs on enterprises. FNE accepts parks on the ground, but under certain conditions, and we pay particular attention to the environment. Énergie Partagée has drafted a specific charter for the photovoltaic channel on the ground with vigilance, exclusions, and best practices. Of course, we have to develop renewable energies, but this can be done by sparing the farming areas, forests, etc. During the impact study, we discovered a protected species. It's the orchid from the province, and we decided to preserve this flower in the park. So this olive orchard was moved in a better place. It was reused, and we coupled the photovoltaic park with this agricultural reconquest operation. So this land will help us have organic farming to produce olive oil, and we'll have workshops to create awareness on global warming with sustainable crops. The citizen is the future of the energy. The citizen has a major role to play in terms of energy production, and the right level is at the level of the city. We need a bunch of citizens who are engaged, volunteers, and we've succeeded in doing so. We have succeeded in making this dream a reality, and all cities can do this. So these are two examples of photovoltaic projects, citizen projects. And now we're going to go on to an example in the field of wind farms with Christelle Sauvage, who's the co-founder of the citizen society that manages the park called Les Ailes des Crêtes, which is a wind farm park in the north of France. And she's also worked with Megawatt and ENERCOP. We have only 4 people here around this table, but for most of them, they wear several hats. So this shows the great diversity in our actions for these citizen projects. I want to give the floor to Christelle. Thank you. Thank you for having invited me here. I'd like to thank Jean-Louis and all of you. I am very moved to be here because when you are working on such projects, it takes up a lot of your time. And sometimes it's good to look behind, to look at what you've done, where you come from, and what we inherit from all these pioneers who've inspired us and who will boost us when we feel discouraged, when we feel a bit low, and who are here when required. I see 2 people here right in front of me, Jean-Louis and Marc. So I'm very happy to be here and happy to say so, because without these pioneers, those who give us a boost from time to time, we wouldn't succeed. So our small cooperative was created in 2009, and it began, as you can see, with PV on the roof of a school. It's good. You involve children. We tell them how solar energy works, etc. But if you just leave it to that, well, you get a few thousands of euros. It's nice, but in this energy transition, it is not enough. So this cooperative has changed. We have included, this was mentioned earlier on, we have included sobriety and efficiency, and a cooperative, 3/4 of its activity is to reduce the consumption and the design of its activity. We shouldn't forget that, unless we want to succeed. And then we went on to a bigger roof, and then another bigger roof, and then wind farm. Then we changed our scale, thousands of euros, hundreds of thousands of euros, and then millions. We add zeros. It becomes more and more complex, and we need more people. We need more skills. We need more time. This is not my slide. This isn't mine either. Should I go forward? Okay, I'll go back now.
Oh, j'avais fait un beau dessin.
I had made a nice drawing.
Bon, et ben voilà.
Well, too bad.
Tout à l'heure, pourtant.
But we saw it, I think, at one point or the other.
Je sais pas, mais je suis désolée. Oh, c'est dommage. Oui, je l'ai vu. Voilà.
There we go. There it is.
Alors, nous sommes notre petite coopérative.
So we are a small local cooperative over there on the left. Yes, please speak in the microphone. Now, so that it works, this was seen in the videos, you need to be tenacious, you need to have a string. And for us, the string was the community and the ADEME that supported us and that helped us with meeting people, and we were really helped by the German and Belgian cooperatives that we would meet regularly, and they would really help us a lot. It was a great inspiration. Now, for this wind farm, they were present also for all the technical and financial aspects. So, around this park, citizen wind farm, the bunch of local citizens didn't suffice anymore. And there was a greater federation, and we had a project with other citizen cooperatives like Courant d'Air, Allons au Vent, another foundation, other people, companies. We dedicated a wind turbine to children, and all this with the support of Énergie partagée. This will be explained to you later on. So this was the setup. Today people tell us, well, we don't understand anything. It's very complex. There are people everywhere. Who are you exactly? Where are you? Yeah, you know, it's all multiplying. And as you can see it on this map, Énergie partagée, it is growing. And today we have hundreds of national citizen projects in France, and 100. If they all get together, they can develop something else. And the message is that you shouldn't censor yourself. At the beginning, you begin with a roof on top of the school, you learn, you practice, and then you become bigger and bigger. And now we have a park of 12 watt peak, and we are developing another farm in Lorraine. So we feel a ramping up in our skills, in our appetite also, in this field of energy. And what is dear to us is to say that these citizens who are getting involved, we need to invite them to think and look back. Look back at their project, think about the transition. Why are we doing this? We're doing this for energy transition, the real one, with a capital T, the one that will allow us to have a more sober, more efficient society. I don't think tomorrow's society will succeed with a lot of photovoltaic everywhere, a lot of smartphones, electric cars, and batteries everywhere. No, but the culture of the citizens in these projects, this makes us aware of the difficulties, the time required to implement all this. And we'll have to change models, we'll have to change society. And this is what we want to do beyond just having solar panels everywhere. Wherever we can, actually. From the point of view of our actions, I wanted to recall, this was mentioned this morning, but I wanted to end on this idea that was defended by Herman Scher, who demonstrated pleaded. I was lucky to follow his conferences and read his book. There's just one solar society, which is a democratic society. And that is very important. It's fundamental to think that, especially when we know all the tensions and conflicts due to energy. The solar society is tomorrow's society. Solar with a capital S, we saw it this morning. Solar energy with all the other renewable energies, wind, etc. So this is the testimony from the citizen approach, and this is what we can do with just working on the school rooftop, what all this could generate and all the transitions behind all this. Thank you, Christelle.
Est-ce qu'il y aurait une ou deux questions?
Are there one or two questions right now on the presentation of this wind farm? Yes, with the microphone, please. Otherwise, the interpreters cannot hear.
Quel est le temps quand vous commencez à planter une petite graine au niveau local pour commencer à générer tout ce mouvement d'intérêt? Parce que faire cette grappe d'intérêt que l'on voit là, ça prend combien de temps?
How much time does it take to do all this? Well, the creation of the cooperative, that was in 2009, but the creation stemmed from a reflection over a territory, that there are common goods, the wind, the sun, it belongs to the territories, it's a resource, it's a wealth. How can we exploit it ourselves? How can we meet our needs with this wealth? And we had thought about this 5 years before, and we had the first program on how to invest in renewable energies in our territories with the support of the ADEME in 2008. So the Belgian communities took me to meet Jean-Louis Ball. Jean-Louis, we're not going to just meet Jean-Louis Ball. Yes, of course we are. And so that was the first funding in 2008. But yeah, it took some time. It took some time, but we have to go faster. I do agree, we have to go faster. So now we're going to have a more general panorama of all the citizen projects, renewable energy projects, with Mélodie de Lépine, who is the co-president of the Énergie Partagée Association that we've already mentioned, who's also in charge of research and innovation in the photovoltaic area at the Becquerel Institute, and she's also worked for ESPU. So it's a very interesting mixture, people working in associations and people working in research and in industries. So Mélodie, you have the floor. Thank you. Before beginning, I would just like to thank all the active members of the citizen groups that are present here, because there are many of you here, and Daniel has said that there are a lot of people following us remotely, and this is a testimony of the interest we can have as a citizen to the whole history of solar energy and the future of solar energy, and it's all thanks to individual investments that we can do that. Énergie Partagée, I'd like to talk to you about this movement. It's a bit oldish now. The members, the initiators of this movement, there are 3 out of the half a dozen here in the room. Christelle, who's already started doing my work here, Marc Gélisca, whom you saw this morning, and Jean-Louis Ball, who provided the first funding for this work. So the premises of Énergie Partagée, it's the first network that was connected to the grid in 91. This was the fruit of a collaborative investment. It is still running, it's still operating, and I invite you to look at the whole story of this facility on the site of the association. So all these people met, and this created a movement of people who wanted citizens to have their word to say in the future of energy in France, that these citizens might be able to demonstrate that they can carry out renewable energy projects, and not just at a small scale. So through various research programs, collaboration programs. I remember our first meeting with one of the researchers from Fraunhofer. He showed us the work he was doing in the German schools. in the solar investment area. And this led to the creation of this movement, Énergie Partagée. Today, Énergie Partagée is an association that fills several functions to support advocacy for citizen energy, the emergence of new projects, the management of the 13 regional networks for citizen investment, and also a link on communication on promoting the investment tool, which is Énergie Partagée. This investment tool is a tool that allows us to provide capital to these citizen projects, either by initiating projects or by supporting the citizen groups or in collaboration with the local authorities. Today it is 30 million euros of capital, so not a small movement. 100 projects financed, 7,500 shareholders, plus some institutional shareholders, and the first payment of dividends that was announced a few days ago. And when we include all the actions, we reached the initial objective that was to propose an investment at 4% for 10 years for the first investors. And this is a gauge of all the efforts that are made by all the people who've worked on this idea of the citizen investment for renewable energy. I won't speak much more because I think that the projects are more interesting than the institutional players, but I would like to encourage you to, if you want to, if you have the means, the resources, if you have the time, to see how you can be part of this, to invest in these projects. It's very good to invest in tools to support development, but at the end of the day, what we see are the kilowatt hours. And people have to invest, they have to operate these projects. You can do this by being involved in these citizen groups or by investing your money in Énergie Partagée. You'll find all the information on our website. And if you're interested by the initiation of our project, you have the map of all the regional leaders. Wherever you are, in whichever region, you can find someone to support you in your project, support you in your acquisitions and your skills. Thank you, Mélodie.
C'est bientôt Noël, donc vous
It's almost Christmas. You may buy some of this as an investment for your children, grandchildren. Do you have any questions on shared energy?
Combien de projets citoyens?
How many citizen projects do you have? 322 which have the label, another large number which don't have the label. And the proportion between PV and wind energy, while most of these projects are solar ones because they are more cost effective and they take less time to reach maturity. So we have, however, a large number of projects which have a label, which means that they have a high level of governance, they adhere to the whole value chain. We have many projects which didn't want the label, the certification process, go through that process, but they want to have a project of high quality and citizen governance. We would like to have 1,000 projects in the pipeline and to reach 15%, one project per EPCI in France. So we do have a number of goals that we want to reach, which are supported not only by the members and investors, but also institutions which believe in us. There is a question at the back of the room. Yes, I apologize. Perhaps I haven't heard properly, but I'm puzzled. What is it, the position of Énergie Partagée? Is it a non-profit? Is it a consulting agency, a legal instrument? So where do your resources come from? It's a very good question. That's why I talked about the Énergie Partagée movement. So it's about 6 different structures, a non-profit which aims to support the emergence of citizen projects. This is funded through ADEME, the Energy Transition Agency, on the basis of a project contract with very specific objectives, but it is also supported through membership, through corporate sponsorship, and so on, trainings, and so on. So that's for the non-profit. We also have an investment tool, which is a fund which allows us to invest in projects, and there is a design office or study entity which is also part of that movement. Sorry, it's off mic, the question. There's a legal advice provided when necessary, and beyond this Énergie Partagée, you have many entities, SPUL, ENERCOP, ANEF, all of these associations, non-profits, are part of this movement. So there are a number of organizations actively participating in this movement. If I speak on behalf of Paris Soleil, without Énergie Partagée, without that movement, we wouldn't have had the same success. Let's move on to Gérard Moine, our next speaker, the co-founder of Centrale Villageoise et Pays Humanité. So this is another group of citizen project, the Villageoise Centrale. So this is in Rhône-Alpes and Auvergne region. They founded the Solar Co-op to help people who want to equip themselves with PV arrays, and is also the chairman of Solaire Sans Frontières, Solar Energy Without Borders. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to introduce the different initiatives related to solar energy. First of all, why am I in the field of solar energy? Well, 50 years again, I was in Cameroon in Africa, and I really saw that there were countries with a lot of sunshine, but deprived of electricity, deprived of power. And that's when I realized PV solar energy has its role to play, and I wanted to be part of this industry. So I spent my entire career in the PV solar energy sector. I am retired technically for 10 years now, but I cannot rest. I have itchy feet, so I'm very much involved in many projects. So with a team, we created Solar Without Borders because these energy issues that we're facing are shared by other countries, and God knows that there are many needs in Africa. Some countries don't have electricity or at a very high cost. So the Centrale Villageoise can help them in different projects. It can be training. We are involved in Madagascar as well in various projects. Then from a local collective point of view or community-based point of view, grassroots initiative. I was part of the Centrale Villageoise. What is a Centrale Villageoise? A village center. So these are co-ops of citizens who want to invest in collective projects, especially renewables and especially solar energy or PV solar energy. So the power generation of energy was decided by the state, and citizens couldn't voice their opinions. So now, if you look at renewable energies, these are decentralized energies per se. So citizens may have a choice in around that. So these Centrale Villageoise, they are rolled out across a community of communes, a group of small villages, let's say, and they work together with companies as well to invest In specific projects, they can rent roofs, either public ones or private ones, so that they can sell the energy, the electricity that comes off of those roofs, solar roofs. So this is the business model which was developed from 2010, essentially in the Rhône-Alpes region in the south. And it was developed further thanks to the business model, which proved successful. We also saw that in terms of sales, it wasn't that interesting because the prices have gone down. So now projects are directed towards collective self-consumption. So in a specific region, you have producers, consumers with a distributed role for selling that power that is generated. So these centrales villageoises, they are based on a number of values. It's a citizen-based governance whereby we pull together tools which are set up. And there are about 66 such centrales villageoises across France, especially in the southeast, and also Brittany and northeast of France. This amounts to more than 400 PV projects from 9 kilowatts to several hundred kilowatts. And you have many shareholders and about 15 million that are invested in those citizen projects. So these centrales villageoises are also part of the énergie partagée movement, shared energy movement. So also we realized that citizens who were investing collectively, they would come to see us and they would say, okay, this is good, but we would like to play our role as individuals. So we would like to inject solar energy in our own home. And we said, well, the centrales villageoises are not geared to develop that goal. So 2 years ago, we created a co-op called Solar Co-op in order to help citizens in doing that. So why Solar Co-op? Well, we realized that many French people wanted to produce locally their power, their energy, but we realized that many of them didn't want to step up this sort of willingness because they didn't know how to get about it. And also some companies are just trying to attract individuals and to rip them off. So we saw that if we couldn't help them, individuals would stop wanting to develop solar energy on an individual basis. So this motivated us. And we created a cooperative in 2021 to help individuals to develop their solar energy project with a specific citizen and honest approach. So we had volunteers who were already involved in other structures such as centrales villageoises, but also professionals from the solar sector who wanted to help us. So we have 22 associates, founding members, to create this co-op, and decisions are guided by the collective interest. So how does it work? So first of all, we want to help individuals to implement their solar project on their roofs between 3 to 9 kilowatt peak. What is the principle of this? So people who come to us, they have to we carry out a technical economic study remotely. We collect their consumption data or the consumption data of users and users. And with our software, we can calculate the needed power generation of solar energy according to the tilt, the location of the household, and also how the roof is tilted. So we can see what they can use, keep for their own use, and how much they can sell to the grid. So we do this environmental, technical, financial study. We give them the conclusions, all the data of that study, so they can make an informed choice. If they want to continue with their project, we put them in contact with someone from the Solar Co-op network. They come on site to look at the specific features of the household, and they send them a proposal, financial proposal. We support them also for their administrative procedures, administrative procedures they have to go through. So through this, individuals can they have someone that they can trust. We're here to advise them. This is free advice, and also they know that they have someone serious, an installator that is very serious, that they can rely on. We have selected a number of them, installators, according to their competencies, references. We realized that some installators didn't have insurance or the proper insurance. We also look at the quality of the material that is used, but also the cost of the installation for the individual. And the people interested in that should know how much it's going to cost them. For installators, it's good because it gives them a good visibility. They have a regular input, financial input. For all the clients that we said, 9 out of 10 sign up for this, for a solar installation, because they've already bought into the concept, and they have a partner network through Solar Co-op. Unfortunately, for those who don't have the budget to do that, we offer another solution. We supply PV kits that they can install themselves, from 1 to 4 solar arrays, PV arrays. Either they don't have the funding or they don't have the roofs. And we want anyone that is interested to be involved in that project. So we tell them about the negawatt approach, how much they consume, what is their consumption level, and this is positive aspect. It's quite an easy solution to implement. The admin procedures are simplified. It's a sort of plug-and-play process. Thank you for your attention.
Merci Gérard. Est-ce qu'il y aurait des questions?
Thank you, Gérard. Do you have any questions related to what Solar Co-op does for individuals who want to equip themselves with solar panels? It's something that we are studying ourselves. All co-ops are questioned about these issues and these types of projects. So, yes, there is a rising interest in these solar projects. Okay, let's move on to our next speaker, Gallus Cadonneau, our Swiss speaker, the founder of Soleil Suisse, the Soleil Suisse agency. He created several foundations to defend the environment, especially the insulation of buildings. He believes that we should install solar panels on a building that is leaking, basically.
Merci, Madame.
Thank you very much for the introduction.
Il y a beaucoup de choses qu'on n'a pas eu le temps de montrer.
So,
vidéo de Norman Foster.
There's a video by Norman Foster that we didn't have time to show you, so I will just focus my presentation on with 3 slides. So we want buildings to be positive in terms of their energy production.
Oui, j'ai envoyé ça. Vous ne l'avez pas? Donc, j'ai environ 100 pages là que vous pouvez utiliser. Si ça ne marche pas, donc vous pouvez t'asseoir.
So I have a very large brochure that you may read. This is of Mike, sorry. Okay, so this is a building from 1705, 4 years before the birth of Napoleon. And the production was at 10,000. And you can you can use 50 electric cars. So this is the principle. Second slide I could show you. So this is page 12 of this brochure, this publication. This is a house built in 1974, 150,000 kilowatt hour, and then 25 after working on it, improving it. So you can therefore eliminate 80% of the losses when you work on building insulation. So if you remove that, for this type of housing, the consumption was 25,000 instead of 140,000. But if you only need 25,000, what do you do with the surplus of power? So you need 25,000. So what do you do with the surplus? Well, for this specific house, you could power 4 or 5 cars. So you take 2 electric cars for each building, or each apartment. If you do that, you still have a surplus of power that you can use for power during the winter or at night. So you have enough solar energy throughout the year. Of course, eliminating 80% of losses. So for energies, this is possible. So if you look at the last page of this publication, the idea is to encourage citizens to take action. I will just read you one sentence. We won a battle last year. We won a grant from the National Assembly, or a specific subsidy. The idea was to reduce this 80% of losses, and in the field of building in particular, and to put solar panels on facades and roofs. And with that, you won't have any more energy issues. So yes, let's take action. Let's get into marching order, citizens.
Merci. Si tu veux répondre à des questions.
Ah oui, il y a peut-être des questions?
Oh, perhaps you have some questions for me. What is interesting is that this operation, you rolled it out for many buildings which were equipped with insulation systems. All buildings are better insulated now. Positive energy buildings. We have some that are positive up to 800%, obviously not many of them, but in 25 cantons or regions of Switzerland, you have that type of technology, positive energy buildings. So all of these figures are measured and confirmed by the local grid. That's very important to know. So there is an assessment that is conducted, yes, review, yes. There's a question.
Oui, bonjour.
Good afternoon, Vincent Pazat from NRCOP. What is your return on investment in years for each of those projects? Well, there are two questions here. For each building with positive energy, we have to use an additional 5% of investment, which means all old buildings or tiles, or you have to remove them from your calculation. If you just look at PV, on average, it's 5%. And if you look at the national level, we made the calculation 2.5 billion euros of Swiss funds per year. And each year, we can sanitize those buildings with 85% of buildings. So in 24, 25 years, you will no longer need to import fossil energy or nuclear energy. Everyone can do that by themselves. And it's profitable in 9 years' time. Because in this battle, you look at both sides, the power generation of PV energy and to reduce all the losses. So that's pure capitalism for you.
Merci.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to mention that on the website of the symposium, you will see other clips of videos. There seemed to be another question in the room.
Oui, bonjour. Je voulais savoir qui.
Good afternoon. Who funds this innovation? He didn't hear the question. Oh, obviously. Each receives 30% for PVs. But at the Confederation, they didn't see that some citizens have positive energy buildings. They only receive 30% of subsidies. But now they want to have solar energy in the Alps, and they want to pay 60% for 10% of production. So the law has been changed now, and the Confederation has to move towards positive energy buildings. So we have to make sure we move ahead and we don't go backwards with these new rules. And after 6 or 9 years, you will have your return on investment. Thank you for helping me on that.
Donc merci.
Thank you very much, Gallus.
Je voudrais juste vous signaler que sur le site.
Yes, I wanted to say that on the website of the symposium, you will see additional videos on citizen projects. There is one on Paris Soleil, another one on Sol-Air Coupe de Lumière, and a third video on Gallus, related to what Gallus just said, the Norman Foster Award, which is an English architect which is very much involved in those positive energy buildings projects. So you have 3 films available just for this part of the symposium, but you have other films also posted on the website. Thank you very much for your participation. A round of applause for our panelists.